Hello, and welcome back to Beethro's Teacher. It's time to finally finish level 2. And we will be finishing level 2 because I already did it. This is going to be a bit different than usual. I'm going to be just going through a bunch of demos and showing what I did to solve this. This took me about an hour. I just forgot to hit the record button. Everything looked fine, but the volume levels are good and I just wasn't recording. So yeah, missed footage. However, to be honest, everything that's left on the second level was an execution-heavy, like fiddly manipulation room. I mean, it is just Wubba hordes. So I don't think it was terribly interesting to actually watch me try to figure out how the rooms worked, because that was really quick, and then it was just, 15-20 minutes of maneuvering around trying to get the Wubbas to cooperate. So yeah, not terribly interesting. Overall, I can't say I particularly enjoyed the second level. But this is going to be a pretty quick part. Let's just go through and, whoops. Let's just go through the demos and I will give my thoughts on them. So this room, the trick really is just getting it started. So once you get to this position, you can use movement order in order to get a gap to appear in the Wubbas, and then you can get around this way. And this is something I figured out in the previous episode. I kind of went back and forth between starting at the top and starting at the bottom, trying to decide which one would be better. In the end, I ended up going with the top because I can, over here, I can get Wubbas into this little nook here, and if I'm over here, I can get Wubbas down here. Whereas if I do the bottom first, I don't have access to this area to get Wubbas here. So I'd only have half of it. And on top of that, this little nook here, this is actually a great spot to just stash Wubbas. I don't remember if this ended up being useful in my final playthrough, but just having this here as an obstacle is another reason why this bottom section is worse, because you get your Wubbas flowing over faster. Yeah, so the main trick, I spent quite a bit of time trying to get a Wubba down here because I wasn't really able to use this space just because of the way that the Wubbas would always end up moving to the right anytime I'm over here. Yeah, so get the Wubbas out of the way. But in the end, I just kind of repeat this motion a whole bunch of times, where every time I do it, I get 2 more Wubbas. And part of the reason that this works, it might be another reason why the top is better than the bottom, is the turn order of these Wubbas goes from top to bottom. But they are... I can't click on things, but I'm pretty sure... Well, I guess these Wubbas are after the horizontal lines. But yeah, so eventually I can do that. And then I'm just shuffling all the Wubbas up, getting them out of the way, so that I have space to move these over. And that gives me the ability to break into the top. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So I now have the ability to stash Wubbas through the bottom part as well. So again, going back and forth for a bit, getting the Wubbas out of the way. And now I have access to those eyes. So now I just do the same thing I just did, but in reverse. So drain out the Wubbas down the side, and I'm trying to give myself access to the top. There we go. Drain out a bunch of Wubbas. And I need to clear out this central area here because I want to be able to get in here without any Wubbas chasing me. So I'm just kind of trying to shuffle everything back into the right side here. I think this was like 90th place or something with my final solution. So, not super great. And then finally, to get out, trying to keep the Wubbas. This is actually probably the most interesting part of this room to me. If I can get the Wubbas all on orthosquares, then I don't need to worry about them anymore. I can just get out that way. Alright. So yeah, this room, in the end, once I had it started, it wasn't hard, it was just kind of repetitive. And there wasn't really a trick to it, it was just do the same thing over and over. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. So this room, I'm going to start from the beginning and just kind of do a quick analysis before I do the demo. So you hit the fuse, and you have to rush to get to the center here, which releases the Wubbas, and then you have these bombs going off. And so there's really two possibilities for something like this. Either you want to kill all the Wubbas, or you want all of the Wubbas to survive. And given that there's not really any threat if these Wubbas die, I figured I probably wanted to keep them alive. I wasn't really sure why, but I figured that was the case. And again, you see 8 here. This is actually the hardest part of the room. You get 8 spots here for 8 Wubbas, drop all the trapdoors. And I was planning on doing this room quickly, just get the, just do it with 1 Wubba following, because I figured I probably needed a Wubba for the roach mechanism at the end here. But why do I need 8? Well, it turns out that in order to get up here, you have to take the tunnel and hit this orb and wait for that orb to go off. And that's the only way you can get up into this roach area, which means that you're sitting here for quite a while. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the door. 8 Wubbas, and the door will be closed at the end of this. And then, yeah, this is just a matter of the bomb goes off, and if you don't have a Wubba behind you, you die. So, oh, whoops, that's, oh right, you can use the D-pad for movement. But we're gonna go for the demo. So for this one, this first section with the Wubbas was actually pretty easy. I didn't really have to do a whole lot, it just kind of worked. A little bit dancing around here just to get the Wubbas into position so they'd be able to follow me. One problem I did have with these Wubbas at this point was that if any of them get stuck on the wall here, which is to say if I go down into this part of the room at all before all of the Wubbas are past the door, I'm never getting them back. So in the end I ended up kind of fiddling around with the trapdoors. The main issue is I was planning on doing a counterclockwise, that's not counterclockwise, a clockwise rotation around here, dropping all the trapdoors, but I needed these trapdoors gone so that if I had 8 Wubbas here, they wouldn't step off of the floor onto the trapdoors. So I had to do some stuff there. I didn't need to do this one because if I make this move with my sword, none of the Wubbas are moving. But that was just to get the Wubba off of the pits that I created. Alright, and so yeah, they all come into position. I'm still able to drop all the trapdoors. That was definitely the hardest part of the room though. Just kind of dance around to make sure that none of them are stuck on the orb. Not that it really matters. And one Wubba is free to join me. And the bomb deals with that Wubba so I can get out. Okay, this room, and this is the last required room. So then we'll get to go back here and deal with those blue doors. So this room, this looks like a pretty terrible mess, but it's actually pretty simple. You just hit the orb and every single door opens. So it took me a couple of minutes to figure out what I was actually trying to do here. Again, we have 5 Wubbas. Why do we need 5? Well, we blow this up to get in here. Trapdoor's down, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 5th spot will slide in here and give us a Wubba, which we need to protect our back from the roach. So yes, we need all 5 Wubbas up in here. The only way that that's happening is if the Wubbas chase us. Because of the trapdoor path, they can't come up this way, so they have to come through the door. Which means that they all need to be on this diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once I had analyzed the room, I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of jumped in and started doing stuff, and the first thing I tried just kind of worked. So I was kind of making an effort to kind of loop back and forth because I found that gave me a little bit of control with the Wubbas, but I mean, that's just kind of what happened. Making sure to get a Wubba in here, and also, yeah, so this was the biggest concern I had, was this Wubba was stuck on the door, which meant I had to come back down again. There was enough room to do it though. And yeah, unfortunately I lost the Wubba I had there because I had to come over here to kind of shake them up, but then this Wubba is able to just kind of fit. Already got you in position, so like it just kind of worked at the end. So honestly, this room, very intimidating first impression, but actually the easiest room on the level in my opinion. This one only took me like 10 minutes, I want to say, maybe less. Now there is one final complication here. You have to actually get these Wubbas out of the way in order to get out. So make use of that force arrow. And I guess I got lucky here, actually just looking at this now, because of turn order. If there wasn't turn order, I guess I would have just had to get the 4th Wubba onto the arrows as well, which would have been... yeah, that should have... Well, no, that might not have worked. I don't know, now that I look at this... I mean, I guess it's not that big a deal because you can pretty easily just go back here and shuffle the Wubbas around until you get the right turn order. And they're naturally going to want to go. The faster Wubbas are going to get at the bottom here, which means that they're going to get stuck behind the slower Wubbas coming back up. So maybe this isn't a gotcha at the very end, but looking at this could have actually been an issue if I had to get that 5th Wubba out. But if it did end up being an issue, it would have been an easy issue to correct, so not too bad. Alright. And because I actually cleared the room on this pass, I do have a demo for it. So yeah, this room honestly wasn't that hard because I had done all the analysis, including getting stuck for an hour on just not seeing how this worked the first time I found the room. But the initial analysis holds. Once the blue door starts open, this room is just really easy, especially once you've spent so much time analyzing every other aspect of the room. We do still need to keep the brain alive because we need this green door to prevent the orb from locking us in. But the main difference here is we're not using this bomb to blow up a Wubba because we have the blue door here, which makes the rest of this pretty easy. Use the wall there to trap that one Wubba so that the green Wubba doesn't cause a problem, and then you blow it up. Open the yellow door, blow up all the Wubbas, which lets me get in here safely. Wubba doors are released, there is a brain, but because I've killed everything it doesn't matter. And I haven't used the bomb yet. So we kill the brain and leave. Was there any dialogue? I guess I didn't need to trap him there. Okay, I guess not. Here. Was not a fan of this room. I was never a fan of this room in either direction, but it was even worse once you had a whole bunch more Wubbas to deal with. I think we'll get the dialogue. This is the only dialogue that I think is going to be missed.
Ah, great. You're finished. Make it past these Wubbas once more and we can continue with the lessons.
Alright. So yeah, that was the dialogue. Yeah, so just come in through here, kill the eyes on the way in. And now I just have to blow up all the Wubbas. And this took quite a bit to figure out. They were not being terribly cooperative. I found that not having Wubbas in this column made a difference. Because from here, this is still going to be in range of the bombs in a few turns. So the real trick was not having a Wubba down here at this part, and then not having a Wubba up here for this part. And of course, every Wubba has to be dead, because this mechanism up here ensures that even if you have a single Wubba trapped on the wall here, it will lock you in if you haven't dealt with it.
Nice bombing.
Alright. One final room, which fortunately does not have Wubbas. This room, though, kind of just felt like trial and error. Like there's just so much going on that you can't really it's hard to have a plan. You just kind of have to do stuff and then react to what's happening. So basically you set the timer, you set the fuse off, you wait for the bomb to go off, and I can show this. So the door is open, and then if I just wait, all the fuses end up lighting at the same time, and they come in and hit all those orbs. So the goal is to leave a passage through here, which I noticed right away means that as long as one set of orbs doesn't go off, I'm good. Like I only need to prevent one out of the four. However, these two and these two are so close to each other that if this set of bombs goes off, a fuse here will be lit, which will cause these bombs to go off. Likewise, over here it's the same issue, over here it's the same issue, over here it's the same issue. So really, you have to prevent one pair of orbs from being hit. Now, I started on this side because, again, if we look at this, this one blows up a turn before this one, so I figured I'd have one more turn to do over here. But this ended up being really messy because dropping these trapdoors leaves all of these little loose ends of fuses, and a Mimic can light a fuse. So you can see on this end, you have all these loops. So if I have a Mimic on this trapdoor, it doesn't matter which way I step off of it, I still have an unlightable fuse on either side. Same here, unlightable on either side. Whereas over here, I was having a lot of issues with, this is unlightable because it's part of this, but no, here, that's a spot I can't step. Here's a spot I can't step. It's mostly just this part down here that was causing a bunch of issues. Oh, actually, that's not true. This one was really bad because either side is an issue, which means this one also up there and over here becomes an issue. This one up here and down here. Yeah, so this side ended up being way, way harder. So in the end, I ended up going with this side. So even though I have one fewer turns on this side, I'm still trying to make a point of placing a Mimic. You can't place on a trapdoor, so you have to kind of anticipate where you want it to move. And depending on which potion I went for, left or right, I would put this on the opposite side of the trapdoor. And I mean, this was just a whole bunch of trial and error, just kind of looking at where all the fuses are, what's the biggest issue I need to deal with immediately. One complication at the end is that I need this, not this one because I can do that, but I need these two trapdoors down as well as all the ones around here, because these two lead to this bomb here, which means that even if I block off most of these fuses, these going off will eventually lead over to here as well. And yeah, I got there just in time. So, I mean, this was just a bunch of fiddling around until something worked. It looks easy once it's done, but, well, I don't know. And then there's this final little bit of busy work, which, you know, I guess it's an enforcement mechanism, but this feels like it was longer than it needed to be. I guess you wanted this part to take long enough that you can't just put a mimic here and rush through to the eye at the very beginning. Alright, and then this, why does this have... Oh, no high scores, but it does record a demo. Okay. And aside from that, I guess there is a little bit of dialogue at the very end of the level, so let's just look at that real quick.
Outstanding. The next level awaits. Are you excited?
So excited, I could chop somebody's head off.
And I did check for secrets, didn't find any, so that's going to be it for level 2, unless I missed a secret, and we'll be coming back for it later. Alright, so I will do the 3rd level next time. I will see you then. Also, yeah, I don't know how this kind of, play-by-play of watching my demos is compared to the usual. I assume that watching somebody trying to figure out how the rooms work and solving it is more interesting than just watching them narrate a solution. For these particular rooms, it didn't really matter all that much, but because in my opinion these weren't very interesting rooms to play through or watch anyway. They were all execution based, so you're not really watching somebody solve anything. It's just kind of going through the process and trial and error until it works. But that's just my thoughts on that. Anyway, 3rd level next time. I'll see you then.